Let us now move on to a new section and take up the Sutram 33126, which prescribes the affix khal. The Sutram is Ishadussushu Krichra Krichrartheshu khal. Mrityu of the Sutram says Eshu Dukha Sukhartheshu Papadeshu khal. Which means that the affix khal is used following a root because Kirinjadhikara of Dhatoho, which of course we know starts from 3-191 all the way to the end of chapter 3, when in composition with either Ishat or Dur or Dus, or used in the sense of difficulty or ease. That's what's meant by Krichra Krichrarteshu. The Pratipadikam Krichra means difficulty, and Akrichra of course is opposite of that, which is ease. So in the meaning of difficulty or ease, in the Sutram Ishadussushu is ending in the Saptami Bahuvachanam. You know what that means? By 3-192, Tatropapadam Saptami Stham means that one of these terms has to be in composition. Then only the affix khal may be used. In the vritti, of course, Eshu refers to Ishadussushu. Let's take a look at these notes over here. First one is that Karanadhikaranayoriti Nivrittam, which means that Yanivritti of Karanadhikaranayoho, which starts from 33117 Karanadhikaranayoshcha. That only goes down to 33125. It does not come into the Sutram 33126. Hence the Siddhanta Kaumudi says Karanadhikaranayoho iti Nivrittam. Second note here is that recall Sutram 3467, which says Kartari Krit. As a default, every Krit affix is used to denote the agent of the action. But then we also studied 3470, which says Tayoreva Krityakta Khalarthaha. Tayoreva means Bhavakarman Eva. So we know that any affix in the sense of the affix is to be used only Bhave Athava Karmani. So this is what this note is saying here, is that as per the Sutram Tayoreva Krityakta Khalarthaha, the affix khal as well as any other affix in the meaning of khal is only used to denote the action, which is bhavaha, or the object karma. We'll be studying a Sutram shortly, the Sutram 33128, Ato Yuch. That Sutram prescribes the affix Yuch in the same meaning as the affix khal is used. So that also is only used bhavakarmanoho. So any affix in the meaning of khal is also to be used only bhavakarmanoho, because 3470 says Tayoreva Krityakta Khalarthaha. Now another note is that a term ending in the affix khal used karmani to denote the object of the action is an adjective whose gender number is dictated by the term that it qualifies. For example, Dushkaram Adhyayanam Maya. Dushkaram Adhyayanam Maya, which means that studying is difficult to be done by me. Means basically I find it difficult to study. So here Dushkaram is qualifying Adhyayanam. So that's why it's used here neuter singular. On the other hand, Sulabha Bhaktir Bhavata. Devotion is easily obtained by you, sir. So for you, devotion is easy to obtain. So here Sulabha is qualifying Bhakti. That's why it's used in the feminine gender, singular. Another example from the Bhagavad Gita, Dushprapo yogo sanyatatmana. Dushprapaha yogaha asanyatatmana. This is verse number 36 in chapter 6 of the Gita. Asanyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti me matihi. By one whose self is not controlled, yoga is difficult to obtain. So here it's qualifying yoga. So that's why dushprapaha is used in the masculine gender singular. Of course, if the affix khal is used in the sense of bhave, since bhavaha denotes an action, it's always neuter singular. So for example, durasamiha tvaya. Durasam, verbal root as, means to stay or sit. So the action of staying is difficult to be done by you here, which means that it's difficult for you to stay here. So here, since it's used bhave, because the verbal root as is akarmaka dhatu, there's no object of the action here, so it's used bhave, and bhavaha is always singular, it denotes an action, and it's also used neuter. So if the affix is used bhave, then the derived term is always neuter singular. In the sutram, you may have noticed that there are three terms given: ishat, dus, and su. There are only two meanings given, but krichra, krichrartheshu. Now, which ones are used in the sense of krichram and which was in the sense of akrichram? That we have to see the meaning in the language. In the language, ishat means small or little, so it means here with little effort. So ishat is used akrichrarthe. Similarly, su is an avyayam in the sense of good, easy. So that is also in the sense of akrichrarthe. While dus in the sense of bad, difficult, hard. So that is in the sense of krichrarthe. So even though there are three terms and two meanings, we know from the usage in the language that dur/dus is used krarthe in the sense of difficulty, while the other two, ishat and su, are used akrichrarthe, the sense of ease. Hence Tattvabodhini says duriti krichrarthe itarautva krichrarthe. Okay, one more note here is that why does Panini say krichrartheshu? Because consider the example ishat karyam, a small job. Ishat here means small, little. It's not in the sense of ease. Just say the job is small. Doesn't say it's easy or difficult to do. So there's no sense of difficulty or ease, so we cannot use the affix khal here. Okay, let's take an example from the Bhagavad Gita. Let's take the example sukhena labhyate iti sulabha, derived from the verbal root labha, which is do labhash praptau bhavadiganaha. In composition with the avyayam su. The verse in the Bhagavad Gita is number 14 in chapter 8. Tasyaham sulabhah partha nityayosya yoginaha. Aham sulabhaha. I am easy to be obtained. The derivation is quite straightforward. We start with the verbal root lab, bring in the affix khal by the sutram 33126, ishadusishu krichra krichrartheshu khal. We do have the term su in composition and it means ease, so we can use this affix. In the sutram 33126, the term ishadusishu ends in the locative seventh case, hence su gets the upapada sanya here by 3192 tatropapadam saptami stham. Now remove these letters, the ending lakara gets its sanya bahalantyam, beginning khakaraha gets its sanya balashak vataditetasya lopaha. The ending lakara as a it is for the purpose of intonation, svararthaha in the Veda. In the classical language there is no intonation, so that doesn't affect us here. The beginning khakaraha is to bring in the augment mum, but the augment mum doesn't apply for the terms derived using this sutram. It applies in the examples in the next sutram which Panini has, 33127. In this sutram we only have ishat, dus, and su. Now recall sutram 6367 which we have studied, arurdvisha dajantas mum, which prescribes the augment mum, but the sutram prior to that says khityanavvyayasya, khiti anavvyayasya. So if we have an avyayam, then this sutram 6367 cannot bring in the augment mum, and here ishat, dus, and su, they're all indeclinables. So there's no question of the augment mum applying in the case of the examples of this sutram. But the next sutram in the Ashtadhyayi has some examples where the augment mum does apply. So the khakara as a it is for the purpose of bringing in the augment mum, but not in the case of this sutram, but the next sutram in the Ashtadhyayi. Okay, what we have now is su labh, which is su plus labha. Now we form the compound between su, which is the upapadam, and labha using the sutram 2219, upapadam ating. These steps we have done many times, so we don't have to go into detail again here. Now here su is the upapadam and hence it gets the upasarjana by 1243. Prathaman nidishtam samasa upasarjanam. In the compound, su is placed in the prior position as per 2230. Upasarjanam purvam. So we get su labha, which gets the pratipadika sanya by krit tadita samasascha. It's an adjective which is qualifying aham Shri Krishnaha. So that's why it is used in the masculine singular. Tasyaham sulabha partha nityuk tasya yoginah. Let's take another example also from the Bhagavad Gita. Dukhyena prapyate iti dushprapaha. Dukhyena prapyata iti dushprapaha. Derived from the verbal root ap, which is apl vyaptau, from the swadiganaha, preceded by the upasargaha pra in composition with dur or dus. This is from the Bhagavad Gita, verse 36 of chapter 6. Sañyatatmana yogo dushprapa iti me matihi. Qualifying yoga. Same steps here. We start with dur or dus plus pra, ap plus khal. All the conditions for applying 33126 are satisfied. We are using dur or dus in the sense of difficulty, so we can bring in the affix khal. Now in the Sutram 33126, Ishadsu shu krichra krichrartheshu khal. The term Ishadsu shu ends in the seventh locative case, hence dur or dus gets the upapada sanya here by 3192 tatropapadam saptami stham. Remove it letters as we did before. Lakarasit sanya by halantyam, khakarasit sanya by lashakvatadjite, and tasya lopaha. So we get dur or dus plus pra, ap. This is custom in dirgha between pra and ap, so we get dur or dus plus prapa. Now we form the compound between dur or dus, which is the upapadam, and prapa using the Sutram 2219. Upapadam a thing. Now dur or dus is the upapadam here, and hence it gets the upasajana sanya by 1243. Prathama nidishtam samasa upasajanam. In the compound, dur or dus is placed in the prior position as per 2230. Upasajanam purvam. Now dur or dus plus prapa gets the pratipadika sanya by 1246. Krit tadita samasascha. In the case of dus, we have to use sasajusho ruho, bringing the ru adeshaha, then remove the letter ukaraha by upadeshe jananasika ittasya lopaha. So dus also becomes dur. So now we have dur plus prapa. Now the repaha gets the visargadeshaha by karavasanayor visarjaniyaha, because the pakara is a kar letter. So we get duh plus prapa. At this point we need a sutram to replace this visargaha by a murdhanya shakara deshaha. Because otherwise what would happen is that by the sutram kupvoha kahpaucha, which is 8337, we would have got two forms. One in which the visargaha stays as visargaha, another in which the visargaha replaced by the upadmaniya. So we had duh prapa or duh prapa. We don't want either of those. We want the visargaha replaced by murdhanya shakaraha to get the form prapa. For that we need the sutram 8341. Idudupadasya cha pratyayasya. Idudupadasya cha pratyayasya. That will be our next sutram 8341. So we can complete this form. Replace the visargaha by the murdhanya shakaraha and get the form dushprapa.